Welcome back to r/LegalAdvice, where people ask questions, get advice, and we get satisfaction. If you are new around here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to join our awesome community, and without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first one is titled, "Former employer harassing me and suing with frivolous accusations. I have proof to demolish his complaints, but no money for a countersuit." I have worked with this company for over 12 years, last 6 years remote work from home. It is a small insurance agency with 5 employees and couple hundred independent agents at the time of my departure. Eventually I became a key employee responsible with training other employees and independent agents, managing day-to-day operations, IT and marketing duties. He was telling everyone to contact me for everything while he was out of office, even introducing me as his right-hand man, and got a keyman insurance policy on me, beneficiary being his business. Trouble started when the former employer began employing his own family members or friends. I had a hard time training them and getting them to be productive because they were there for a paycheck and not hired due to their skills, experience or work ethic. Last straw was when he hired the 17-year-old daughter of his ex-girlfriend, not his daughter, who did not even have time to get trained or show up due to her school schedule. I confronted my former boss, asking him to explain the last hire because now we did not have room for advertising budget. He basically told me that it is his business and his money and he can do whatever he wants. After this incident he became more secretive, and while I went on vacation he started changing the passwords to business accounts that I used to have access to. During this process he also changed passwords to some of my personal accounts, including LinkedIn, and hosting accounts for some of my family or friends' domain names and websites which did not belong to him or his business. I'm not sure if he initially did that by mistake or on purpose to use it as a leverage tool against me. He initially denied any wrongdoing, but then refused to return my accounts. I presented my resignation, citing the unfair hiring procedures, removal of my personal property without my consent or knowledge, still offering to train my successor as needed, but only after he returns my personal passwords. At this point he admitted changing my passwords. By the way, I never had any secrets and former boss knew all my personal details to be able to reset my passwords. He basically said he won't pay my last pay period salary or return my personal accounts until I return his computers and equipment with information and databases intact. In the following week I returned everything, took screenshots of files and folders to prove they were intact at the time of shipping, took pictures at FedEx and kept tracking numbers. After he refused again to pay my last paycheck or return my accounts, I went directly to the service providers and successfully proved that I was the rightful owner of the domains and accounts, and 3 weeks later finally regained access to my domains. I even gave up on the money to be able to focus on starting my own business. However, a week later I got served, former boss suing for $75,000 of damages due to alleged theft of data, equipment and computers supposedly not returned. Although FedEx shows he signed for them, unfair competition, also stealing his trade secrets and look and feel of his websites. Which, by the way, cannot be further from the truth and easily proven by simple comparison. The trade secrets he claims are just databases which are freely downloadable online by anyone with a browser and internet connection who knows where to look. I hired a lawyer and provided proof to demolish all his accusations. His lawyers initially mentioned a settlement agreement to avoid further expense for both parties, but for 2 weeks they have not came back with any agreement proposal. In the meantime, it has come to my attention that the former employer is using this lawsuit as a tool against me by emailing all insurance companies about the litigation and warn them to not work with me or to terminate my contracts. I have a copy of such email, but the recipient does not want to be involved and just sent me a copy of said email with their name edited/blacked out. Some insurance companies refuse to grant me a contract due to these emails he is sending. I know I have a good case to countersue, but I cannot afford that at the moment. My lawyer won't help me sue on contingency basis. Another detail worth mentioning, he sued me in Louisiana, I am in Florida. Is he stalling to let the clock run and force me to show up in Louisiana court versus getting an agreement and retracting the lawsuit? Sorry for the wall of text and possible typos, I am on my phone. And a user in the comments said, I'm not a lawyer, I know this is not the focus of this thread, but technically you should have received the last paycheck within 15 days under Louisiana law, even taking into account you are not returning equipment. Not returning equipment does not mean that they can withhold generally. Also, check your non-compete agreement and your employment agreement. It is likely that it is unenforceable if a region is not specified. And by the way guys, I'm curious, are you generally satisfied with the kind of salary / paychecks you are getting? I gotta say, you know, in Germany actually the wages are sort of low for most of the jobs, considering that it is not exactly a cheap country and especially considering that the taxes are pretty high. Feel free to let us know what you think in the comments. Update to the former employer's story. Update: in May 2015 I resigned from a 13-year job due to harassment caused by a new employee, cousin of the business owner. Former employer realized he did not have a non-compete and, in hoping to keep me away, filed a frivolous lawsuit fueled by his cousin's lies about me. I initially hired a lawyer, and after the first month's legal costs of over $6,000 I realized I could not afford a lawyer and defended pro se. I made mistakes, but in the end I survived the almost 3 years since this crapstorm started and finally got the case dismissed. I feel like a huge weight has been lifted. I am bruised and broke, but you should see the other guy. I know he spent over $150,000 in legal fees. And guys, I suppose pro se or pro se, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, means Latin for by oneself. So he represented himself in court without a lawyer. Edit: case was in federal court, Louisiana. Edit number 2: since the update threads are locked by default, I'm going to add here my advice for others in similar situations, since it appears to be a common question in the PMs I am getting. First, look really hard into getting a lawyer. Even if only for initial settlement negotiations, a lawyer may get your case dismissed in the incipient phase. The initial month I used a lawyer gave me the general direction I followed after. It helped me discover some of the tools I needed to use later. Unfortunately, my former employer got stubborn and it became a pissing contest. Things I have learned and I recommend: read/download the rules of civil procedure and the local court rules. Don't let deadlines pass. Better file something incorrectly than not file when an answer or action is expected of you. You will have the chance to fix errors later. Have a witness willing to write a declaration stating that your version is correct. Use affidavits/declarations to get your evidence admitted. Also, read the rules of evidence. Submit subpoenas and take depositions. This is what ultimately helped me. Good luck all. And to be honest guys, even though it is nice that the OP gave this sort of advice, I'm not sure if it is really a good idea to represent yourself in court. What do you think about that? Would you take the chance? Let us know in the comments. And by the way, while you're at it, I would really appreciate it if you could like the video, and maybe we can reach 1000 likes, because we have not reached that in quite a while and it would be absolutely awesome. Thank you so much in advance. Colorado. I am an artist and left some paintings hanging at a local shop in my hometown. I came back to town and checked on the last one. The owner avoided my calls for weeks and then claimed she does not know what happened to it and is now claiming it sold last week for 1/10 of what I listed it for. Thanks in advance everyone. In 2013 I left 3 paintings at a small clothing shop in Denver. 2 smaller ones sold and 1 larger one was listed for $1,200. I never expected it to sell, but I was acquaintances with the owner and had a friend who worked there, and they both liked it and wanted it there for decor. It's a large piece, about 2x4. I remember signing a commission agreement, but stupidly I don't have a copy of it. 2 years later, in 2015, the owner sold the shop to a person we will call K. K reached out to me and asked what I would like to do, leave it in the shop or take it. I said I would leave it. At this point, I was living on the other side of the country. I told her if it became a problem to let me know and I would have a friend pick it up. She said she might want to buy it outright from me. I said that would be fine too, just let me know. I called her back a few times to check if she did want to buy it, but she never got back to me. I based my assumption on our previous conversation and assumed it would at least be safe at the store. Cut to this year and I walk by the shop on Christmas Eve and remember my painting is there. Since then I've been calling the shop, the owner, emailing, writing Facebook messages to get a hold of Kay, and I did not hear back until today via text. I know this is a drag to read, but I want to make sure all details are included of this bizarre interaction. Me: hi Kay, this is E. I've been trying to get a hold of you about a painting I commissioned to in 2013. Do you know what happened to it? Any info is appreciated. Kay: hi E, I'm so sorry, unfortunately I do not. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Me: are you the owner of the shop in question? Kay: I am. I bought the shop from A 2 years ago. Me: yeah, I remember that. We had discussed the painting then, but then I couldn't get a hold of you and figured I would just leave it at the shop. Do you have records of commission agreements? Kay: no, I'm so sorry, I don't. I don't do any commission, so I'm not sure what the agreement was between you and A. I will be more than happy to figure something out, just let me know what you're thinking. Me: well, ideally, I would just like it back. Kay: the painting sold actually just last week. Me: oh, can I pick up a check for it then? Kay: let me contact A and see if she has the agreement. Me: how much did it sell for? Kay: 120. Me: $120? Kay: yes. Me: it was listed for $1,200. Kay: I'm not sure what I can do. Do you still have A's number? Me: I don't. If you could check for an agreement and I will do the same. Also, if you could forward a copy of the invoice from it selling last week, that would be great. My email is the following. Kay: I never got an agreement from A, so I am in the dark about what was agreed on between you both. The sale was ran through my POS, so I cannot send you anything. Maybe it is best for you and A to talk since the agreement was made between you guys. That would be great, but I'm not sure how big of a difference it will make if you bought the company from her. If you can get any proof of purchase of the painting for me, it would be really helpful. You can blur the CC number or anything in your accounting would work. Literally any proof would help. I have yet to receive any proof that the painting last week sold. I have evidence of the painting being there and check images from the other paintings that sold. Otherwise, I have no proof of price it was listed at or commission agreement. I assume the painting is long gone, misplaced and likely did not actually sell last week, and she's probably lying. Do I have any chance of recovering the cost of the painting from her? Thanks. Edit: thanks everyone for the helpful feedback. I browsed this subreddit before bed almost every night and I am glad, but also not actually glad because I really just want my painting and money to finally have something semi-interesting to contribute to the discussions here. Update: afternoon, January 17th, I told the owner this morning I needed either the painting back or the value of the painting sans an agreement upon consignment fee for her, and I offered 30%. That would make it $900. She said I should have my lawyer contact her and otherwise wants nothing else to do with me. What a peach. I have an appointment to get some advice from a lawyer who works with artists pro bono, very grateful, next week, so until then, guess I just have to wait. Thanks again everyone, definitely given me some food for thought. I gotta say guys, in this situation I don't really understand why the shopkeeper would be lying, because obviously she bought the company from someone else and I assume everything that you inherit, so to say, from the previous owner you can just sell however you want. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but a person in the comments said, typically when you buy a business you also inherit all their existing agreements. When you buy an apartment you have to abide by existing leases, or when you buy a company you agree to take on their liabilities, debts. So I suspect you may have some sort of case here, though I don't know CO law specifically enough to cite specific laws, but from what you told me, the previous owner agreed to sell X item at Y price and not merely sell item. If K failed to abide by the agreement, you go after her. If the previous owner failed to inform her, that is not your problem. K would have to turn around and sue the previous owner for not fully disclosing information. I would look into gathering all the info you got and filing a suit in small claims court. Maybe also contact the previous owner to see if they would be willing to be a witness to back up your story, since they would have a vested interest in proving the fault lies with K, so K could not turn around and sue the previous owner for neglecting to inform her about the agreement. Update to the artist's story. I found a non-profit in my area that helps artists and creatives and find lawyers who are willing to help them pro bono. My lawyer sent a carefully worded letter saying we would like the painting back or the value of the painting paid to me minus the shop's commission, or I would be pursuing the issue in small claims court. I did not hear from her for a few weeks, but then got a sickeningly sweet text saying she managed to track the person down who supposedly bought the painting from the shop, bought it back, and it was ready to pick up. Wow, she's a hero, but not at the shop, at her home. I sent my boyfriend to grab it to avoid a bizarre confrontation with her. She left it on the porch and would not answer the door. She left a valuable painting on her porch, outdoors for hours, whatever, I have it back and never have to talk to her again. Thank you all for the advice. I would like to send my lawyer a thank you. What would be appropriate? And guys, I'm curious, did you ever have to deal with a lawyer? What was your experience? Let us know in the comments. And the next one is titled Leasing Office opened my apartment and allowed a rent-a-center place to take my own brand new washer and dryer units. The previous tenant never returned theirs, so they assumed my unit belongs to them. A lot of incompetence all around from both the rent-a-center agency and my leasing office. I have also yet to have the units returned to me. They were promised to be back here first thing in the morning. Not sure what steps to take next. I am hoping my brand new units have not been damaged. I live in Texas. I will post below what the leasing contract says about who may enter. The leasing office also left no notice that anybody had been there. I thought I had been robbed at first. My leasing contract states 28 when we may enter. If you or any guest or occupant is present, then repairer, servicers, contractors, government representatives, lenders, appraisers, prospective residents or buyers, insurance agents, persons authorized to enter under your rental application, or our representatives may peacefully enter the apartment at reasonable times for reasonable business purposes. If nobody is in the apartment, then any such person may enter peacefully and at reasonable times by duplicate or master key, or by breaking a window or other means when necessary for reasonable business purposes if written notice of the entry is left in a conspicuous place in the apartment immediately after the entry. By the way, I'm not sure how breaking a window can be a reasonable business purpose, but anyway. Law officers with a search or arrest warrant or those in hot pursuit may be allowed to enter. We are under no obligation to enter only when you are present, and we may, but are under no obligation to, give prior notice or make appointments. Update number 1. So after telling me that the appliance would be delivered this morning, they changed it to later today, and now they are saying it will most likely be delivered tomorrow. I sent out an email detailing exactly what happened, the cost of my appliances, and what accessories were also taken. I spent a while on Google collecting emails of both my leasing office and of the appliance warehouse, from customer service emails to personal executive ones, anything I could find. I figure the more people that hear about it, the more likely I will be reimbursed for the negligence and potentially any damage that was caused to my new units. Thanks for all the responses so far, a lot of great advice. I will update any further happenings. Update number 2. The emails I sent out gathered a lot of attention. My apartment is offering to fully replace the units completely and give me $500 towards my rent. I still have yet to decide whether or not to accept that offer. The appliances were just delivered today. They seem to be working okay, but I still need to test them out more. Also, to clarify, it is not actually a rent-a-center who took my machines, rather a rent-a-center type entity. The company who took them is called the Appliance Warehouse of America. I have not heard from them personally as of yet. However, I heard through a source at my apartment complex that they may offer me some form of compensation. Apparently they are saying that they had the wrong apartment number and went into mine instead. That is not what I was told at first, but go figure. Update number 3. Washer and dryer seem to be in okay condition. Some scuffs here and there, but seem to be working okay. Talked to the apartment manager to clarify their offer, so she's offering to fully replace the washer and dryer set or $500 towards my rent. The washer-dryer units themselves are pretty cheap, but together with the accessories come out to around $1,200. Update number 4, the Appliance Warehouse of America is offering me a $100 voucher for my trouble. Update number 5, accepted my apartment's offer of a $500 concession towards my rent. The Appliance Warehouse of America did give me a $100 gift card as well as a box full of sample-sized dryer sheets and detergent. If they did any permanent damage to the machine, I have yet to find it, and if I do find anything on a later date, I will apply my warranty towards fixing them. Thanks for all the help, folks. This man/kid keeps flying a drone over my house with eggs attached to it that gets released on my property. I have a specific question regarding something I want to do and need to know the legal aspect to it. The police officer told me he cannot go and knock on every house in the neighborhood investigating if they are the ones doing this, which is understandable, I guess. And that I have to know where the drone comes from first for him to do anything. Honestly, at this point, I want to buy anything and take the drone out with it when it comes on my property again. If the kid sues for the cost of the drone, then I am willing to pay. This, of course, will reveal his identity, so I can counter-sue, right? I'm sure he's breaking a lot of laws. Thing is, I want to make sure that he cannot sue for any ridiculous emotional distress or any other crap he might claim, but only for the cost of the drone. Edit, follow-up question, the drone has a camera. If I end up being on YouTube, can I sue him for that? By the way, let's hope he does not sue me. Anyway, edit number 2, taking out his drone is not an option now. As you pointed out, it might be a felony. And guys, before we read the update and one of the comments, please let me know what you would do if you were in OP situation. User Double Nut answered, is there a drone/quadcopter enthusiast club in your area? Perhaps you can have someone familiar with the technology help you out by following the other drone around, or they may know how to identify it. Update to the drone story from before. I would like to thank you guys for the help and all the creative ideas you have proposed in the original thread. Sorry for not updating you right away, as I was really impacted by the death of a very close person in my family. So here is what happened. I liked one of the comments here where it said to see if there's anyone who fly drones as a hobby willing to use his drone for me for $1,000 instead of me paying for a whole new drone. Figured, just like you guys said it, would make someone stay to fly a drone as a hobby and also get paid. So I hired a guy, which I will call him Frank. After waiting for 3 days at my house every morning, the drone finally flew to us, but apparently when the other kid saw the other drone take off, he went crazy and tried to hit it or take it down, which he did, which resulted in the kid's drone and Frank's drone both to go down broken on the ground. A few minutes later, this kid came running to the house, whom I recognized lives a couple of blocks away, and started whining about how we flew our drone in his way and crashed it. We went and spoke to his dad and showed him all the footage and explained all the crap his son has caused. Shockingly, he was completely understanding. He told me he would put me through one of his lawyers so that they would offer both Frank and I a settlement if I agree not to sue. I called my lawyer and we all met a week later, and he reimbursed Frank for his drone plus way more money than I would have ever paid him. He also wrote me a check for what his son has caused under the condition that I won't pursue any legal action. It was a happy ending, and I was quite shocked of his father's reaction and his willingness to pay for everything his son has caused, but I must admit that I feel sad knowing that his dad is definitely the one enabling him to do so. Never have I felt his dad was mad about anything his son did. While we were there discussing what happened, his dad received a phone call, and then shortly after ending it, he started telling his son what the other party was saying, and they both started making jokes about the caller. So the whole thing made me feel that his dad was like, "Ma, just another day. My son caused damage, and I would just have to pay those people here for this to all go away." Well, at least that is a sort of happy ending to the story. But guys, I'm curious, have you ever flown a drone? Let me know in the comments if you have. The next one is titled, "My ex has nude photos of me and threatens to send them to my current partner. Can I do anything?" I sent my ex and father of my kids risky photos pretty often when we were together. When we broke up, I deleted all of his permanently and requested he do the same. I thought he had. We are currently in the middle of a custody issue and he's not handling it well. Between me not doing everything he wants me to do and coming down from relapsing on heroin for a month, he's not in the best mental state. This is unlike him. This morning he sent my current partner old pictures, 2+ years, and attempted to convince him they were recent. Luckily, there are some pretty noticeable differences between the pictures and how I look now. I am wondering if I have any legal recourse here. I want the pictures of his phone and I want to make sure he has not and will not post them anywhere or share them with anyone else. Are there any laws in PA or precedents that say what he did was somehow illegal? Thank you in advance. User Albert in the comments mentioned, "This sucks, but the easiest thing to do is to notify your attorney and notify the family court judge of this behavior." There may be other legal remedies in PA for this, but how many different ways do you need to stop your ex? Guys, did anyone ever post pictures of you online without your consent? To be honest, that is one of my big fears, and that's why I don't really use any real-life pictures in social media. Update to the photo story from before. My post was not hugely popular, but I have a small update. Thank you to everyone who commented on my previous post. I read all of them, even the ones I did not reply to immediately. I called the police last night. An officer came out to my house. He read the messages, saw the photos and said, "Yeah, that's illegal, and I don't think it gets much easier to prosecute than this." He had my fiancé send him screenshots of everything and then the photos separately. He took my ex's information, our information, and the surprisingly ample amount of information I have on his girlfriend. My ex is currently on both probation and parole, so the officer is reaching out to his PO today for a current address. Since he refused to provide it to me, he will be calling my ex today, and if he hangs up on him or gets smart, he will be prepared with an address to just go talk to him. He also knows where he is working this evening while the officer is on duty, so that is a last resort. He is also going to run the evidence and our statements by the DA's office today and get the green light to proceed with charges, which apparently will include an actual arrest once everything that needs to happen happens. I'm not clear on the details exactly, I just know that they are almost certainly going to be charging him with a misdemeanor too. Additionally, I am almost positive that my ex's current girlfriend, who he has been with for roughly 9 months now, was involved in some manner. She is an RN, so if it comes to light that she was complicit, she could also be charged and lose her job. I don't know how it would impact her license as an RN, but it did work for the hospital she works for currently, and any charges, no matter how minor, result in termination. The officer confirmed this as well. And I took everyone's advice. I contacted my attorney. He's drafting a cease and desist letter to send to both my ex and his current partner. He's also going to request a copy of the police report to add to the already massive stack of evidence of reasons why he should not get custody of either of his kids. He should remain strictly on visitation if he's lucky enough to even get that. Thank you everyone, I have a small amount of hope that this will work out favorably. My current partner does not care what he has to say or what pictures he sends, he sees it every day. He also knows that my ex is vindictive and is grasping at straws in an adult temper tantrum. Hopefully this will end the years of this crap from my ex, as this is not the first partner he has done this with. It is just finally a charge in PA. And the next one is once again an update to the nude photo story from before. Well, this is pretty lackluster, letdown of an update. I finally heard back from the police officer who took the original report. He said the DA was declining to press charges. I am devastated. Essentially, when the police officer spoke to my ex, he claimed that he did not send those pictures because I was nude, but only because he wanted to show my current partner the background to establish a timeline. That is stupid for a couple of reasons. First of all, the first picture he sent, I was at work. At my current job, I've been here for over 4 years and much of that time I was dating my ex, so that picture proves absolutely nothing. Second, the second picture he sent was taken in the bathroom of a house I rented prior to meeting my current partner, and while still dating my ex, he was even there when the lease was signed. So again, that proves nothing for the supposed timeline he was trying to establish. From what the officer was told, my ex's word that he did not send those pictures because I was nude but because of the background is what tipped the scales in his favor. The DA said that there is no intent to disseminate those photos because of what my ex claims was his reasoning. I don't understand that either, considering he did disseminate them, he sent them to my partner. I'm still confused about the logic here. The kicker in all of this is that I have proof via cell phone records of my own that I sent my ex other pictures in the same time frame that were not nude, that had the same background as the nude photos he sent. It is very frustrating for me that the DA did not even take that into account. The officer attempted to elaborate on the situation and explain there was additional evidence that could be gathered from my cell phone carrier that would absolutely destroy my ex's claims, but he got nowhere. I have attempted to call the DA's office myself and they have yet to return a phone call. They are obviously not interested at all. There was a case tried in my state for a situation that sounds eerily similar to mine, but the DA in my county does not want to bother. Sorry, this is a crap update and sorry for the lack of justice bonus. I'm pretty devastated and I feel very let down. I know there's not anything I can do at this point. My lawyer is still obtaining a copy of the police report to use in our custody case, but without any charges filed, I doubt it will hold much weight. We had a child support conference last week. He lied about his income and where he worked and what hours, so he managed to get out of paying a fair amount. He was high during the conference. He came in and used in the bathroom while my mom and I sat there. Hopefully custody is not as big of a letdown as everything else has been so far. Thanks for your help everyone, we tried. And guys, indeed, I'm sorry for the unsatisfying ending, but if you have watched until here, please feel free to post some star emojis in the comments and also like the video if you want to support me. Thank you so much. Without your daily support, YouTube would not recommend my videos, so I really cannot thank you guys enough. The next one is titled, Texas, my mom has my cat and has repeatedly sent threats all weekend claiming that she beheaded him. However, the police say the cat is still alive and when I showed up to collect him, she refused to give him up. How can I get my cat back? Hello, for reference, I'm 23 and live in Texas. My mom also lives in Texas. My mom has a history of mental health issues. However, she was seeing a doctor and everything was straightening out. I moved in with my boyfriend and when we moved, the landlords refused to let us have a pet. My mom offered to take care of Kitty and she agreed that I can get him anytime I want to. We have a verbal and written agreement that Kitty is still mine and she will let me get him whenever my living situation allows pets. Over the weekend, my mom had a mental break. She stole a bunch of her boyfriend's stuff and mailed it to me to sell on eBay. When I refused to do that for her and sent the box back to her, she got mad. She sent me message after message explaining how she beheaded my cat and his head will be on my doorstep Monday morning. I also found out she quit taking her medication and she went off in the deep end. I called the cops and animal control. They did a wellness check and to my surprise, Kitty was alive and healthy. After the cops left, she demanded that I come by her house and get Kitty. And if I don't, she will behead him for real this time. So I went to her house and when I went to claim Kitty, she refused to give him up. I called the cops back out and according to them, since the cat has technically lived with her for more than 3 days, the cat is legally hers. I showed them our contract, her threatening messages and showed them where she told me to get him. They said that they can only take custody of the cat if she actually harms him and since he was still alive and unharmed, they said I would need a court order to officially get custody of the cat. After I went home, she kept sending threats, so I blocked her number. I ended up going to the hospital because I thought I was having a heart attack. Anyways, I don't know what to do from here. All I know is I believe her threats are credible and I need immediate custody of my cat before she actually crosses the line and actually hurts him. Also, my landlords are understanding of the situation and will let me house my cat. What do I do right now? I've had him since he was 2 days old, nursed him and took total ownership of him. He's now 10 years old and I just need him to be safe. And someone in the comments said, not a lawyer and don't live in Texas, but since you have proof that your mother is not doing well and sending texts proving so, you can probably call APS, Adult Protective Services, to check on her and perhaps get her admitted for a bit. It does not even have to be voluntary on her part if bad enough. It would be good for both her and the cat, because if she's threatening the cat, she's most likely also a threat to herself and should be treated as such. Then OP answered, according to the police, doing that would not give me custody of the cat though. And guys, in case you are a pet owner, what would you do if some crazy person, especially if it would be your mom, was threatening to behead your cat? Honestly, I would definitely not be able to control my emotions, but let me hear what you have to say. And now we got the update to the cat's story. First off, thank you to those who commented with helpful advice. I did not feel like advice to steal my cat bag was legal, thus being in this subreddit, so I took one user's advice to talk to the director of animal control in my mom's city. She basically told me that the police have no idea what they are doing, especially when it comes to law regarding animals. She said that the only thing I can do to get them to understand is to report my cat as stolen property. She said the police will understand what to do if, as a reference, my cat is a property and not an animal. I went to the police station and the police threw me around again. Despite I tried to report stolen property, they got upset at me and claimed that a cat is not property. After 5 minutes of arguing, they sent a cop out to the lobby and he agreed to read my mom's texts. The cop read them and said that since she claimed that the cat is mine and she told me to collect him, I can go to her house with a police officer and he will assist me in getting her to hand back over my stolen property. We get to my mom's house and she's not there. We look around the outside of her house and find no signs of Kitty either. I call her and ask her where she is and told her that I was at her house with the police. She said, in quote, "I took the cat and ran off into Oklahoma and I'm not ever coming back." The police said they cannot help me since they don't have jurisdiction in Oklahoma. I went to the courthouse to file a small claims against my mom, but the filing fee is $171, so I left because I cannot afford it. On my way home, I contacted Adult Protective Services in one last-ditch effort, but was on hold for over 3 hours. So I hung up and filed a complaint on their website. I also called my grandparents and they were the ones who tipped my mom off, which is why she ran into Oklahoma. My mom played the "poor me" card, so my family bought into it. And somehow I'm now the bad guy in the situation who is trying to murder the cat. When I got home, I cut everyone out, all of my family. I separated every single tie I had to them. I have had that cat since he was 2 days old. That cat was the only thing who showed me love for most of my childhood and teen years, and it kills me I won't be able to get him back. This situation broke me and right now I am trying to recover. Thank you everyone for listening. And I'm sure many of my ripe stars who also have cats can very much relate to this story. In my opinion, losing a pet that you love is basically like losing a part of yourself. Knock douche nozzle off an 80 feet bridge, judge approves. So this is not my story but my coworker who is an old Vietnam War veteran. He's a good guy, though made some poor decisions when he was younger. Some things to know about this fella is that at one point he was a local troublemaker in his New York town who got his head somewhat screwed on better when he joined the Marines and it was set straight when he got married. This story takes place just after he came back home on leave from training and just before being deployed to Vietnam. Being a young man, coming back to his old stomping grounds and showing off a brand new Chevy, he was cruising around town visiting old buddies and neighbors. He was driving along past a local church where his sister participated in a youth group whom he came upon crying and upset. Asking her what was wrong, he learned that a local ass that had approached her, harassed her and had groped her chest just outside the church before leaving the area with confirmation from other church goers. Being a hot-blooded young man who did not take that noise, he hopped back in his car and drove around scouring the area before finding him and confronting him on a bridge. There, at the bridge, he not only cursed him out, but beat him into a silly mess before knocking him off the bridge into the river below. He survived with no further injuries as the water was deep and slow moving. He straightened himself out before hopping back in his car and laying low in the area till his deployment. Many years later, more than 15 had passed by this point, my co-worker's younger brother had become the sheriff of the area. He notified my co-worker that a warrant was active for his arrest for assault and that he was being summoned to court, who was visiting the area at the time. By this point, my co-worker has been to prison for an unrelated matter for a few months and was lax about the situation. When the court date came up, he appeared before a judge who asked about the situation and my co-worker admitted to what he did. The judge asked where his sister was and was told she was at home, to which the judge asked for her phone number. The judge called up his sister, who verified his story and told my co-worker that the statute of limitations was up for the incident anyway, but the warrant had not been removed since this is before computers were widely used. The judge also admitted that he would have done the same thing in his position, if not worse things, to douche nozzle. With all that being said, my co-worker was free to leave. And the only angry person was his younger brother, who was only mad that he did not get to pulverize the guy too for touching their sister. Side note, as a fellow veteran, this tickled me greatly. Any well-deserved ass beating should be rewarded with a beer and a cigar. I hope you all enjoyed this as much as I did. And guys, unfortunately, we have already reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and if you haven't already, please also go to patreon.com/ripeyoutube, where I upload exclusive Reddit videos starting at just $3 a month. This is a great way to support me in case you are interested, and the chance for me to become independent from YouTube revenue. Thank you so much for watching, please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.